Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of Earworm. My name is Tim Malone, and I'm with my partner here, young Master Zachary.
What's up, everybody?
There we go. So this is the second episode of a topical idea that we had saying, hey, what band, what music, what type of music, what specific song, whatever. Pretty much came up with bands that changed our lives, changed the way that we think about music, I don't know, changed our lives. Sophomore year of high school, a band came out with a video on MTV. Stop me, stop me if you think that you've heard this one before. The Smiths. Um, they were huge when I was in high school. And I'm going to date myself, Zach, and you're not allowed to laugh, and if you laugh, you got to cover your mouth and uh, save it for some other time. This album, Strange Ways, Here We Come, 1987.
It
I'm
seems
going to
like a
laugh at.
great year. Seems like it was a great year. Late 80s.
Oh yeah, it was the year my sister graduated from high school, so yeah, she was old, for goodness sakes. Um, Background. So I like started branching out and hearing about other songs and everybody knew what the heck was going on when I was a kid with music and stuff. It's a little different than Zach. Like we had to buy albums and we had to buy cassette tapes or and all these other things. And MTV started early 80s that I think we got about in 1984 and I saw this video for Stop Me Stop me, oh, ho, ho, stop me. And it was like Stephen Patrick Morrissey, lead singer of the Smiths, walking through the streets of Manchester, England. And woo, it like changed me. So I started listening to like some weird, like out of like off the radio music. Like, for example, Zach, I started listening to Metallica and Megadeth right around that time because my sister was into it.
You
Um,
went from the Smiths to Megadeth?
no, it went the other way. I went like because I was just looking
Okay.
for good music, and I don't qualify it perhaps the same way. I was just looking from the different pop music that you heard on the radio because I'm almost 20 years older than Zach, so the music I heard was from the radio. There was no internet. It was just like friends sharing stuff, handing each other like tapes. Like I couldn't email anybody because there was no such thing as email at the time. Like a link to Amazon Music or Apple Music. It was just like, oh, check this tape out, bro. And you, you, you push the plastic pieces in on the top so you can because you couldn't duplicate it if the plastic pieces were still there. Like all that stupid crap. And
Speaking gibberish here to me.
I know exactly. I mean, one of these next episodes, like maybe next year, I'll show everybody what the heck I'm talking about. Cassette tapes. Like, you've seen a
Yeah,
cassette tape?
there you
Okay,
go. There, you
so
could
that's
have
the.
just said cassette tape.
I said that. I said a tape. My hands were up here, you weirdo. Anyway, like it was either and 1983, 84, MTV came around, and it was
All right.
all these outside bands that weren't on 98 Hot Hits and 94 WISP.
That
And
was their way of getting out, was through MTV, like getting their music
I,
video out,
I'm
right?
talking circa 1985. There wasn't even 120 minutes on MTV at the time. It was like a video radio station. And I saw this. It must have been 86 or 87. The album came out in 87, and I saw this video by the Smiths, and I was just like, what is this? It like changed my paradigm when it came to music. Don't get me wrong. I love Metallica. I love Dave Mustaine and Megadeth. I got to realize, like all the punk rock music, like Ramones and Sex Pistols and stuff, because those were kind of popular and stuff. And this was just like out of nowhere. I don't mean to monopolize the conversation, but like The Cure is very similar, like song wise to some of their music the Smiths had. It's kind of like depressing and like you kind of like oh you kind of like mopey, but like it's like jangly music and the same kind of guitars. Zach, you heard the song, you were singing it before we started recording.
Yes.
Did,
So, what, oh shit, what was that song called? Oh, How Soon Is Now.
oh my goodness, great song. It
So,
might be one of their most
so
famous songs.
I've heard that song before. I didn't know it was by the Smiths.
Right.
I didn't know who the Smiths were, but you obviously brought it up and I was listening into it and I did some research and that song, How Soon Is Now, is very significant in their history as a band. And we'll get to that. But when you look them up, you don't necessarily know them by name. But when you hear this song, I know everybody has heard this song. So I never watched the show Charmed, but it
Okay.
was the theme song to Charmed. How Soon Is Now. It was the theme song to that show. So a lot of people that don't necessarily know the band, they watched that show. It was a different niche. They've heard it before. So a lot of people have heard their music and they were very influential. Like I was listening to that today and it's so they have that consistent sound through the whole song. But when they get to the riff, it's really cool how they find that same sound, like off the top of my head, I can't think of it, but they have pianos, they have guitars, they even throw a guy whistling in there,
Oh
just
yeah.
throwing the beat in there. It's so interesting how they fit different instruments and ways of like the whistling. They just throw that in there and it just works. It's cool. It just shakes it up a little bit. It felt like a really long song like I was listening to it and it was like felt like 20 minutes later it's like still going on the riff, but I wasn't bothered by it because they kept shaking it up with different instruments and ways of doing it. It was really cool.
It's I it they have a couple real they have one really good musician in the band and he's been in a bunch of bands. Johnny Marr, really famous guitarist, and in my opinion, and this is a weird step out, and you can either back me up or tell me to go to heck. Um, Johnny Marr is he is the ultimate jangly guitarist from the 80s, in my opinion. Um, and all those, there's so many tunes. I mean, I'm sitting here. I told you earlier when we were talking about this, like I know every verse of every freaking song by the Smiths because I was so into it. And it was back in the day when we had cassette tapes and you peel the papers out and you start opening them up and you could actually see like all the lyrics and you can like read them. Oh my gosh, I was like addicted. And so this band like literally changed my paradigm. And one of the things that stood out, and it's so funny to me, I just looked it up for the last time I was driving back from where we were earlier. We can keep that to ourselves. Was they called it college rock. And I looked back and like 91.7 and 91.5 and 88.5. That's where you could hear them at the time in like the or mid to late 80s and before like the internet came out. Like they had these like alternative stations and it was right around then when I realized that 88.5 was actually a thing, WXPN. It's still around and they still have that concert venue on Penn's campus.
So college rock
Yeah.
is a thing.
Oh my God, you're so young.
Well, I actually looked it up and it says, is college rock coming back in 2025? Of course not. So
Because
what, like, I don't, it says Foo Fighters are a college rock? I've honestly never heard of college rock. Yacht rock, I guess that makes sense. But
so
college rock is like,
okay, so take a
how do you
step
define
back.
college rock?
So take a step back. Okay, so we're talking
And
19.
fuck your own, sorry.
Go ahead, man. Finish your thought, dude. You freaking weirdo.
What is that from? What movie is that from? Oh no. Why
Yeah,
don't you take a step back and fuck face? All right, we're gonna cut that out. Go ahead.
no worries. But so at the time, like you sit there, like you had 93.3 WMMR, you had 94. I was younger, you had 98 hot hits. You had some oldies stations that had like 50s tunes on there in the 40s and stuff. You had like a rap station came out. It was even before like 1027 and 100.7 was big at the time. But 88.5 and then like down the shore was like 98 91.7. It was like these like on the radio, the only places that you could hear like non-popular music was these 88.5 is a University of Pennsylvania station. They it was like college rock. The
Okay, so that makes sense. It was a college radio station playing the hip stuff of the
like
time,
the
I guess.
stuff like outside, like the
Yeah,
replacements,
I
the
get that. Okay.
yeah, okay, and the Smiths were one of those bands, and so they're in that group of like Husker Du. Like, do you even know who Husker Du is? Like Bob Mole. Okay, we'll talk about that in
Nope.
another episode. Oh my goodness. I mean, there's all these bands from like the late 70s, early 80s, all the way up to until 120 Minutes started on MTV about, I'd say, circa 1987, 88. 120 Minutes started. And it was 120 Minutes was like a 2 hour show on Saturday night on MTV. And there was some random weirdo like VJ. And he started playing these videos of bands that like nobody ever heard of. And they were very popular, like up in Milwaukee and up in Boston and out in like weird areas of LA and down in Florida and Georgia. I'm like, and then, but like they were so popular, like, so here's a good definition for our audience, for the younger folks. REM was a college band before they became really popular with the album Green. It- It's
You
the
know
end of
what?
the
I
world as we know it. You know,
I
they,
I get that now. I get that. So the college band. So when I think of a college kid, it's angsty.
yeah.
It's just kind of, I'm gonna break out a little bit. When you look into this band, they are a very angry group of men, bro.
But,
They are a very spiteful group of men. It kind of fits the whole college rock like spiteful feel. It just now that you say that, it's fitting.
think about like you listen to some of their songs, very jangly guitars. It's not like they're not slow dirges. We talked about the dirge. A dirge is a funeral song. They're not like very slow, like I mean, they have a couple slow ones and stuff, but it's very giant. Girlfriend in a coma. I know,
Yo,
it's
that song
serious.
That song right there. So when I was doing my research, I was saying this is a angry group of dudes. I listened to that song. Holy shit, bro. My girlfriend's in a coma. I could strangle her right now. I could
There were
fucking kill
times
her. I
when
could
I
do it.
could have
I could do it.
strangled her, but I
Dude,
don't know that I could happen to her.
these
Oh
guys
my
were
God.
angry as shit.
Would
And then
you
you look into it more, and when they broke up in, I don't know, when did they break up?
87?
87. You mentioned that song earlier.
Yeah.
Came out in 87,
The
one of your
album
favorite
came out in
ones.
87. Yeah. Strange Ways
Last
Here We
one,
Come
right?
was the album. Oh yeah.
Last one
Yeah.
as a band.
Yeah.
They fought each other getting back together. They turned down hundreds of millions of dollars getting
So
back together because they just didn't want to fucking deal with each other. Bro,
so
these were angry fucks.
the bassist and the drummer, they like there was some sort of like when they actually went to like I think it was like RCA Records or one of the biggies, and it's like Johnny Marr and Stephen Patrick Morrissey, the lead guitarist and the lead singer. They got like each got like 40%, and the other two got 10%. The bassist and the drummer got 10%. It went to like the British equivalent of like the high courts, like the Lord of the Lord of Commons or whatever the hell it's called. And it was crazy to me. But here's one that I don't know about your research that kind of stood out. One of the major reasons it was kind of like rumored is that Stephen Patrick Marcy is a famous homosexual, and that Stephen Patrick Marcy and the guitarist Johnny Marr started hooking up, and then they broke up,
Oh,
and then
there's a little romantic riff there.
yeah, and then
Wow.
yeah, and Johnny Marr went on to a band called The.
Yo, I saw that. What is that? You
You got to look them
serious?
up. Yeah. The
The
they were
really?
it's like one of those bands that was really popular over in Britain, like the late 80s, early 90s, and then they had a couple hits that came onto MTV. And I actually saw The and in a weird like group concert thing. Johnny Marr was no longer in the band, and I was like, I can't believe these guys are still performing. They had a couple hits on MTV. I mean, if we're gonna take
That
some
could
time,
be the worst name ever.
I know they were
You
trying to
could have
like.
picked the doorknob. Fucking anything. The. I saw that. It was like,
He was
really?
in
What the
he
fuck is that?
he took some time and like played with Pet Shop Boys. He
Yeah, I
took some
did. I
time.
did see that. Him, Morrissey and Marr, they really branched out on like solo, didn't
Oh,
they?
I know, and I think if you kind of look it up and let our audience like look it up and our viewers and listeners and stuff, I think Morrissey by himself when he went out on his own and he Suede Head and Viva Hate, the albums. He sold more records solo than he did with the Smiths. And I've seen Morrissey 3 times, and it was crazy to me because it was really before the Smiths were really before I started going to concerts on a regular basis. But that's a band that I would love to go back and see Johnny Marr and Stephen Patrick Morrissey going up on stage and stuff. It's just I so the grand scheme of things, the conceptualization of these episodes that Zach and I had over the last few weeks is like the bands that like changed our like lives. I love them so much. I bought all their tapes. I think I still have one of their records. It, in
Bring
my
that over
house.
to Andy's for meat night.
I know exactly. I mean, I'm not kidding. Like I can name probably a Hatful of Hollow, The Smiths, Meat is Murder, the Queen is Dead, Strange Ways Here We Come, and Strange Ways Here We Come is kind of funny because Strange Ways is an actual town in England. Just looking that stuff up, it's just it like literally like changed the way that I looked at music because. I mean, I went to Cure concerts after this, and I was looking up like other bands that were like similar and comparable to the Smiths, like all these other English bands, and quite honestly, and Zach makes fun of me, like listening to 88.5 and hearing these other like Corrosion of Conformity came out, like all these bands I've never even heard of before that were playing like on college campuses. It's kind of a weird, I don't know, like maybe it started like back in the 60s and 70s, but there was like they were going to these college campuses, these small bars, and playing the Replacements, like Husker Du,
All those
Sugar.
European bands.
I just named like three American bands right there.
Oh,
But a lot of European bands that were coming over that were hugely popular in Europe, but they couldn't they couldn't sell out the Spectrum. They're playing
that's what I'm
on
saying. Like I could
Penn's
see
campus.
this type of band like the Smiths from Europe that are just pure music guys. You
Yeah.
know, they know how to get the point across, but no that they're professionals at their craft. Like the guys
Yeah.
on the guitar are just they're
J-
dialed.
I
They're
mean,
great, bro, but they
John,
don't have the avenue.
I,
So they come over here and go to the small bars and stuff like that. I can see that.
they're playing at the TLA, Theater of Living Arts. They're playing at the.
TLA is the spot, dude.
Dude,
That's
I love
such a
that
great
place.
venue.
I love that place.
Such a great venue.
I've seen so many places there, and you just like park on a random street in South Philadelphia and walk to it, and you can hang out upstairs at the bar area and look
Yeah.
down. It's
So so I haven't listened to I'm gonna go back to earlier in the episode. You mentioned Megadeth
hmm
before the Smiths.
okay.
So Megadeth, I know they're more of a heavy band,
Yeah.
right? So my it's kind of funny in my head. You go from Megadeth to the Smiths. I
Okay.
went from Motionless in White to Mac Miller.
Yeah.
Motionless in White is a super heavy hard rock, screamo, just get your emotions out kind of band.
Yeah.
And then you find this other band that like
Mac
gets
Miller.
the same emotions out, but in a different way.
Yeah, like really
Like
rhythmic.
I was laughing earlier saying the Smiths are a really angry bunch of dudes, but it is what it is. They're getting their anger out in their music, and it's comparable to Megadeth because of the lyrics, trying to get that anger out, but it's such a different vibe.
Oh,
And it's kind of the same thing with Motionless in White. It's like Motionless in White is just, and then Mac Miller is just kind of calm rapping, but if you look into it, it's like I'm really upset. So it's not cool, but it's interesting how those two, like Megadeth to the Smiths and Motionless in White to Mac Miller, it's
dude,
kind of comparable.
very good correlation, my friend. I mean, because there's a bunch of bands you can sit there and look at that do the same things, but in like different formats. I mean, you got rap artists that are goofy as heck, and you got pop artists that are goofy as heck, and you got metal bands that are like goofy as heck. But then you got the angry folks. I mean, you could almost say, uh, Pink has some pretty angry songs, and
Pink has a lot of past history that she's
yeah,
getting out, but she's
yeah,
getting it out in those like
yeah,
happy sounding songs. But if you look into it, it's not happy.
yeah,
It that
because
that's an art, man. That's
yeah,
really an art. And
yeah,
I thank you for bringing these guys up because like that song shit, what is it called? How Soon Is Now.
ah,
Again, I've known it. I've heard it. But when you look into the band and see what they were about and then
shyness
listen to
that
that
is
song,
criminally
damn,
vulgar.
man.
I mean, think about that lyric. A shyness that is criminally vulgar, and so it is. Oh, nothing in particular. Like it's like don't get me wrong, and like the Morrissey is the one that like stands out because you take a look at that video for "Stop Me," ah ha ha, stop me if you think it's your that it's like a video, and he was walking through the streets of Manchester, and all these kids, it looks like middle school kids and high school kids, are wearing these coif haircuts that are trying to imitate Stephen Patrick Morrissey. And it's just, it was like it fascinates me about some of these bands like the Smiths that are so unbelievably popular in England, and they come over to the United States and like they can't even sell out to like the Tower Theater and stuff. But like, I mean, I don't know, like you and I are like music nerds, and we're here them. I mean, there's a whole bunch of bands like that. It just like it fascinates me sometimes with these freaking folks. Uh, if anyway.
That transition from, I mean, it would be going from New York to London
Oh
and
yeah,
trying to fit into the music scene and just doing it effortlessly.
yeah,
That's kind of how their music came across, it seems like. I
yeah.
mean,
I
in
mean,
the
there's
80s it was kind of arena rock, big hair, rah, rah, rah. But
Poison
then
and yeah.
yeah, it was Poison, it was all that kind of stuff. But then these guys come in and it's kind of like indie rock now.
Okay, so when you say indie rock, that also would describe in my mind the college rock scene.
Perfect. So college rock, indie rock, there's the
Y-
thing.
y-
Like
So go
indie
take
rock now is like to me when I put on an indie rock station, it's like what the fuck is this? Like this is weird, but give it a chance because it may be good. You never know. You may have one of these type of bands that just blows up. I don't know. Noah Khan may have been indie rock at some
back
point,
in, if you take it back about 20, 30 years, he probably would have been.
and
And
now he's mainstream. It's, you got to gauge the generation, I guess.
Oh, I completely agree. And I mean, I mean, hip hop is, in my opinion, you take a look right now. Who's the big hip hop
Garbage?
art? No, who's the big hip hop
Uh,
artist right now? You know, you got the mumble rappers and all the other stuff. It's not as popular as it was. I'm sorry.
That's what I said, garbage.
Yeah, it's not as popular as it was about, I'd say about 10 years ago. And then, dude, the Phillies game, isn't it tonight? Where Nas is playing
No,
after?
Nelly.
Nelly. Okay, Nas, sorry.
Nelly.
Nas,
Nelly.
apologize, Nas. Nelly. And you know what I'm saying? Like, how big was he like 20 years ago?
Nelly was gigantic, but I gotta tip my hat to Eminem and his
Yeah.
beef with MGK. I think Eminem really just put mumble rap down a little bit.
Oh, I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some mumble rappers like woke up looking for the broccoli. I love that freaking song.
Yo, he sucks.
Okay, that's fine.
I
But I like
hate
that
him.
song. Mum
I hate
Mumble.
his music.
But so I mean that might be a topical episode that you and I need to have
Hell
about
yeah.
the artists in our opinion that stood out in those specific genres. Like Eminem, like I don't give a crap about politics when it comes to artists and actors and movies and books and stuff like no books sometimes. But dude, Eminem, man, holy crap. I mean, we could go on and on and on and on. And one of the things to take it back to sort of a weird sort of way to Smiths is Stephen Patrick Morrissey was a huge, like, gay hero. Like, I told you earlier, he was dating Johnny Marr and they
Yeah.
kind of broke up, and that was the reason the Smiths broke up. But he was like huge, like, gay guy. And now he's like, pro-British, like I mean, he's pretty much like right wing over there. It's just so funny to me. I don't want to get into it, but it's just like it's funny on a big 30,000 foot view. Like, all right, you got this guy who's like a like super Joe gay guy, and now he's like let pro Britain
Times
get.
change, baby.
It's just crazy to me, and it's funny. Here's the last thing about this, and I'm like, we haven't really talked about Dave Mustaine, lead singer of Megadeth. Same way.
Yeah.
Peace sells, but who's buying? And now he like completely swung the other
Man.
way, and he's
All right,
like,
we'll stay away from this.
I know, but come
We'll
on,
stay away
it's
from
just,
that
but I mean,
shit. Hey, fun fact, but we don't have to talk about
it's
it.
funny to me though. Like you think about these freaking
It
guys, and
is. It's
it's
so interesting.
it is extreme, and I don't mean to get into particularities, and I don't, one way or another, I don't give a crap. Like I said earlier, I could give a, I mean, Eminem is awesome. Like the freaking Bad Religion is awesome, my favorite band of all time. I could care less about the products. I care about the music. And you brought up like how soon is now, and I said, stop me if you could think that you heard this one before. And Girlfriend in a Coma by the Smiths, and it is, oh my gosh, an Unhappy Birthday. Have you ever listened to that one?
And Happy Birthday is
I It
phenomenal.
is. I mean,
From now
but
on, from my 31st birthday on, I want that song played when
but
I'm
like
blowing out my candles.
back me up, Zach here. Like ding 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 ding. I mean, it is like jangly pop, and then when you get down to the lyrics, like girlfriend in a coma, and I come to wish you an unhappy birthday because you're evil and you lie.
Oh, love it. I
It is.
love
I
it.
mean, it
I
is like
love how dark these guys are with being kind of poppy. Like there was one song that I was listening to, I was like, these guys are flirting with reggae.
exactly. And
Like
if you
they're all over the map. It's crazy.
And also, there's like a couple songs on, I think it's either Queen is Dead or Strange Ways Here We Come, where they're doing like riffs. Like they're like it's just like riffs of music. Ching ching, like hip
Like I
hop
said
esque.
earlier, they have riffs, but they put every like every part of their band, they let themselves go to the forefront. Like they let the guitar go out for a second. They let this tambourine fucking go out for a second. Like they let everybody go to the front. They're a very angry band, but they're a very selfless band when they want to like let everybody shine. And it's really cool to see it all come together.
I mean, do me a favor, just like on like YouTube, take a look at like some of their like there's some very famous English music TV shows and they're on YouTube and take a look at them performing and it's extremely interesting to me. It's some of their performances live, some of them are very comparable and this is just weird like historically speaking, very comparable to The Who. You too, because you guys sit there and the rhythm section is just hanging back there, doing what they're doing. They're not jumping around. They're just chilling out. You got the lead guitarist who might just like, Pete Townsend-esque, and then, Edge might come out and like sing with with Bono. It's very similar that way. And then it's to go back to the whole legal thing, like each one of the bassist and the drummer only got 10% of the
Yeah,
royalties.
that's fucked up.
I know
That's
it's
pretty bad.
freaking ridiculous.
That's
But
really bad. So,
so go ahead.
fun
I'm sorry.
fact,
Go ahead.
and Andy, is it
Yeah,
Andy Rourke?
Andy Rook.
So he founded Manchester vs. Cancer.
Dude, that's awesome.
He founded that. He passed away in 2023. But they got back. So Mar and Morrissey got back together before he passed away.
Yeah.
I think he did some like step ins and like kind of got the band back together. We said earlier they were like kind of like fighting each other with getting the
Oh,
band back together
oh yeah.
over the years. They turned down so much fucking money just because they didn't want to get back together. And your relationship story furthers that makes
Exactly.
so much more sense now. But the fact that he founded that, he died from pancreatic cancer.
Yeah,
So he
which
was
is no joke.
diagnosed with that. He said, "Wow, I have this avenue. Let's start raising money for it. Let's make this gigantic show." That says a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
going back to the angry band, but very selfless. These guys really loved music, loved what they did, may not have agreed on everything, but they did what was best for music and what was best for their situation. Like Rourke,
Yeah.
diagnosed. How can I, make this better for the next generation and the next generation? So it's this band is very interesting because of their dynamic and because of how good they were.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it's just it's so interesting to me because of how good they were and how much pushback they had with getting back together. It's a really, really cool story.
Yeah. I mean, if you listen to their entire catalog, they run the gamut. I mean, there's a couple songs on there that you can qualify as like disco. There's some songs in there you can qualify as ballads. There's one song, and I got to go back and look at the catalog. There's one song that it's almost like quasi metal, that
There's some aspects in there,
yeah,
right?
and then
Like they pick from every kind of genre and they just let it flow into their work and just make it work.
I oh, it's
I see why this band is what you picked for why they changed your life musically or just in general.
it really like I think taking a look at that time in my life, about like sophomore year of high school, and um, it like made me look at so many other things, so many like where other avenues to gain um, enjoyment of music. Like I said, I keep on bringing it up. WXPN 88.5. I found it through the Smiths watching. I mean, one of the bands I brought up a few episodes ago, Public Image Limited. You know, the lead singer from Sex Pistols, and like it just like it opened like the complete like I was like, I don't have to listen to MMR and YSP and 98 Hot Hits all the time.
It kind of breaks the barriers for you,
Yeah.
music. Like
Yeah.
there was a sound that in that generation, that time, you were expected to stick to, and they kind of broke it,
Yeah.
you know? So I get that.
Mm.
It's the stigma thing, I guess,
And
for the time.
oh yeah, and then we'll talk about some other bands that came around after them that I think actually learned from the
I was gonna say I
Smiths.
would love to know the bands that were inspired by them.
Oh my goodness, I got a whole list, man.
I would love that. We're gonna talk about that soon. You're gonna educate the kid.
Yeah. And Zach, one of my major takeaways, I'm gonna finish this off this episode with this thought is I really appreciate that you listened because you really never heard of them before this. And as my co-host, if you will, for Earworm, you listen to these songs, I don't know, when you're coming back from work and cruising around and taking your puppy to have some playtime. I appreciate that. So thank you, Zach.
Yeah, man. So I'm a guy that when I find a song that I like to listen to it over and over and over again. Or if I find a guy that I like, or an artist that I like, I like to listen to that and learn it. But when you bring this type of band, an 80s UK band, it really interests me. And then I listened to that song, How Soon Is Now, and I remember it. I don't know where I remember it from, but I know I've heard it. And then I really took the time to listen to it and just
The
the little
lyrics.
dude,
Yeah.
it's so good, man. So I you thank me, I thank you. This is the point of it. I want you to bring this stuff that I've never heard of and educate me. Make me look it up. Make me listen to it. That's how it is. Make me branch out to different songs. So thank you, man.
I'll give you. Oh man, I'll keep it to myself right now, but I want to give you like three bands, but I'll save it for another
We'll
time.
keep it going. You got
Yeah.
your weeks. But hey, one more thing.
Yeah.
Speaking on the UK genre here, I know I love that word. Love the word genre. But hey, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. Guy is an absolute trailblazer. Um, I, hand to God, did not like his music growing up, but learned to appreciate it. Love, love what he did for rock and roll. His July 5th, his last show that he was at, when he's 76 years old. He's got a lot of shit going on. When he was performing, wasn't the best, but the fact that he was there and young blood, we're gonna maybe have to do a young blood episode because he
I'm
came
down.
in there, dude, he killed it. Changes? Have you seen his rendition of Changes?
I have
It's
not.
Dude, the live version of that in front of Ozzy, unfucking believable. Unbelievable. The future of rock is great in his hands. He's got it. But goddamn, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. Thank you for what you did for rock and roll, baby.
Generals gathered in their masses,
Dun-it,
just like witches at black masses.
dun-it.
Oh my gosh, man. That's probably my favorite
Hell yeah.
Ozzy tune. Yeah.
Rock and roll, Ozzy. Fuck yeah, baby.
Final thoughts there, young Master Zachary.
Again, the Smiths, my boys, my brothers. No, that was a great one. Thank you for introducing me to that band that I already knew but didn't know I knew. So thank you for that. I'm gonna keep listening to their stuff because it's very different from anything that I've ever listened to.
Let
I'll
me
give you
whisper.
that.
Let me whisper my last goodbye. I know it's serious.
It's the darkest, happiest music I've ever listened to.
That
Oh,
is that is
Girlfriend in a Coma is wild.
it is such a good song
Wild.
though. I wish you talked about like bunnies and like I don't know, Swing sets or something.
Bunnies and swing sets. Van Ants.
Zach, you are the best, my friend.
Hey, Stead Hot, everybody. Thanks for watching.